Good morning. Welcome. Today is Thursday, January 29th. How's it going? Hope everybody is doing well. My name is Angela. I am a software engineer and front-end developer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, we just do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. No frameworks, no libraries. We just like to practice the basics. That's all. I'm going to save my rant. I'm going to wait. Here's what I decided. Okay, this is clearly I'm already breaking this rule that I made for myself, that I'm not going to talk anymore about why I don't use frameworks and libraries until somebody asks, because I'm just wasting time. Rahul is here. Welcome. Rahul is one of the mods in the chat. He lives in Nepal, and it's like a 12-hour time difference. So thank you, Rahul, once again for staying up to hang out with us. Definitely appreciate you. Go Elmo. Malik in Florida. How's the weather, Malik? Because I feel like it was very mild maybe like a week ago, and then it got really hot. I don't know. It's still below zero here, but oh my gosh, that huge storm that affected like the southeastern part of the United States totally missed Minnesota. Just whoop, right beneath us. It was amazing. So, and Malik says, YouTube, no more wrenches for us. We are upgraded to shields now. I don't know what that means. We're upgraded to shields now? So on the back end, I see wrenches, so I'm confused. Hang on. I need clarification on that because I still see wrenches, so I don't know what that means. Enlighten me. I need things to be explicit in that. Please don't ask me to read between the lines. I will never understand what you're talking about. I need you to literally tell me exactly what's going on, or if you wait for me to figure it out, we'll be here all day. Memory Clips is here. Hello, welcome. Max with Logic. Hello, everybody. The hoops are out. I can tell it would be a good stream today. I like my hoops. I just got these. Well, I got them like a year ago. I like them. So after years of buying cheap base metal hoops, I went all in and I got a nice pair of gold hoops. And I do like them. I do like them. I think they're cute. Malik says, chilling at 60 degrees today. It was 20 something this morning. Oh, that sounds amazing. I mean, the first thing that I do every single morning when I get up is take my dog for a walk. And 20 to 30 is amazing because you can put on your nice, warm, snuggly, puffy jacket and just go outside and like stretch your legs and wake up and breathe in the fresh air and the sunshine. To me, 20 or 30 is very, very comfortable. I like that weather a lot. I'm waiting for it. Those are like, that's like a Minnesota spring, late winter, and then pretty much through spring. We could have 20 or 30 degrees every morning through May, April, May. It's absolutely beautiful weather. I love it. I love it. So enjoy it. But you're from Virginia, Malik. So you are, I think of Virginia as having really mild weather. So tell me if I'm wrong. Do you like get snowstorms or below zero there? I don't even know. But I would imagine being in Florida after having grown up in Virginia, you would like that? I don't know. Do you like that? I don't even know. Anyways, okay. Nobody cares. Let's talk about our project, shall we? We're working on this website, and I have to tell you once again, in love with yet another project. I like all of my projects. I like this one a little bit more. I do. It's like when you love your kids. I don't have kids. I've had a series of pets my entire adult life, and as a child, I loved them all, but sometimes you're like, yeah, I connect with this one just a little bit more. I feel bad that I said that now because I fully believe, I don't want to get like too philosophical on you or anything like that. I believe that if there is a heaven, I will walk through the gates and every pet I've ever owned will be waiting for me. I really believe that that's going to happen. That to me is heaven. And maybe my parents, my mom and dad. I wouldn't mind if they were there too. So, anyways, what was I even talking about? Oh, yes, I really, really love this design. And it's funny because when I came across this design and the last design that we did a couple of weeks ago, I know I've mentioned more than once that these are designs that I did back in 2014 when I was a brand new developer. I was in my first job. I was living in San Diego at the time, and I was just trying to like find my style. And so I came across these and I was like, whoa, it just immediately brought me back to that little studio apartment in San Diego and all of the drama from that first job. And I was like, it would actually be great to go ahead and build these. And now that I am building them, I love them. So maybe they're not the best designs in the world. I don't know. But there is something about building out something that I made, that I designed. It's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. And I'm enjoying it very much. So if you weren't here for the last project, this is the last one that we did. And I would say that this stayed pretty true to the design, the initial design. But we made a couple little improvements, and now this one is also, I think this one is also going to stay for the most part pretty true to the initial design. But we're also going to have a little fun with this one too. So, and I'm loving them. I'm here. So, the icon besides the username in chat for mods is now changed to a shield. It was a wrench before. Okay, I'm going to show you what I see. I see wrenches. I see wrenches. I have sent a screenshot of what I see on Instagram. Virginia did get snowstorms and hurricanes when I was there. I love the cold. Okay, hang on. I'll check Instagram. I want to see what you see. So this is the interesting thing about being a developer, right? Is we can see in real time that big platforms like YouTube, they roll out changes slowly. You know what else they could be doing is it could be their way of A/B testing also, right? You roll it out slowly, you get feedback from users, you find out if something does or doesn't work. And I'm not even like necessarily talking about the change of an icon, but recognize that when organizations and big apps or even small apps roll things out like that, that's a way to like test and get feedback and find out if stuff's working. I personally find it interesting when other people get the changes before I do. So, okay, yeah, hang on. Oh yeah, there it is. Interesting. Huh. I wonder if there's a reason why they did that, or if there's some change to how mods work. YouTube mods wrench icon. The YouTube moderator wrench icon changing to a shield often signifies a visual update by YouTube to represent enhanced protection security or a change in or expansion of moderation community management tools. The shift generally indicates okay. Well, I'll check and see if like permissions or something changed. I don't know. I'm not sure if it really matters. So we can carry on. We can carry on. So okay, do me a favor. If you haven't yet, go ahead and like the video. If you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. We would love to have you. And with that being said, we will get started. Oh, but I don't have our designs open yet. Let me open those now. We are going to dive into our contact page. Well, and we have to, let's also go ahead and make our inner pages, which is going to take a minute. I highly recommend that if you've only ever built like a website or an app using a framework, try doing it static. Just try doing it static and see how it goes. In my opinion, you're going to learn a lot about how the internet really works, because when you have to get all of your pages set up and your navigation set up, I am not here to tell you that it is ideal to have a, we'll say, 4-page website with 4 sets of navigation, especially if that navigation could change frequently or if you could see the site growing. I'm just saying, if it's a small project and you know that the pages are probably not really going to change, your navigation would stay consistent for the life of the site, try doing it static. Try setting up navigation for each of those pages. It's a good reminder of how the internet works. I know that sounds basic, but it's a good exercise that I think everybody should have once in a while. Try it. See how it goes. Okay, so we basically have a home page. I don't have everything. There we go. We need to make our inner pages. So we've got blog, contact, and then page. Home, blog, page, contact. So I'm just going to take and copy index.html into each of these pages, and we're going to get them set up. We are going to have to change the path to our assets, and we have to change the image path, and we have to update the navigation to represent an inner page. And we're just going to do it all at once, and then we're going to start specifically working on the contact page. Okay, so let's start with just page. I'm going to close some of these, and we'll just do one at a time. So first of all, we have to change the path to, oh, and you know what we should have done? We should have linked our JavaScript first. That's fine. We can do it now. We're just going to do it all now. So I think we just need to do this, and then we'll get our script in here. And we'll make sure we have the defer attribute, just like that. And then here's our navigation. So the home is going to be ... slash, right? But I don't want to put index, because I want to keep the URL structure pretty clean. And let's see here. One moment, hold please. And Rahul says he sent me a message on Instagram. I will check that after the stream. Yeah, go ahead and DM me on Instagram. That's honestly the best place to get a hold of me if you have a question. Yeah, you know, I get enough DMs that sometimes it feels a little overwhelming. I'm not used to that. But I try to respond to people. And also a lot of DMs go to that hidden folder. Yeah, and I sometimes don't remember to check that folder. So I do my best though. And also it helps if you tell me that you sent me a message so I know to go look for it. So that was perfect. Okay, so blog. We'll go / up, and then we're just going to go blog just like that. And then page is the same / up, and we'll go page. And then contact is the current page, just like that. And again, I'm not going to put index.html because I want to keep the URL structure neat and tidy, but you could, if you wanted, you could absolutely do that. So there's our navigation. And then I'm also going to put a class of active. So we're on the contact page. I'm going to put an active class on the link, and then we can add this active class to the focus, hover, active pseudo classes for the navigation. And it just acts as like you are here navigation. This is pretty easy to do with JavaScript, but you don't need JavaScript if you are just building a static site with static pages. So we can just do this natively. We don't have to do any JavaScript to achieve that. So, okay, so here is our contact page. We're going to come back to this. Let's do our blog page. We'll do this again. And then we'll add our script. Make sure that we have that defer tag. And there's our script. Oh, you know, we're going to have to fix the images. I forgot about that. So there's our home link. We're on the blog, so this is the current directory. And then the page. And then the contact. And then I'm going to put an active class on the blog. Just like that. And then anything that has images. And so I selected all of them, and it looks like there are 7 selections. So we're just going to say ... / just like that. And now those images should all be loading. I don't think there's anything else we need to worry about. So that was our blog page. Here's let's actually fix the images on the page, the page. Right here. And again, whoops, there are 7 selections, ... / just like that. And now we have our contact page. ... / we'll get our script in here. And then our home page. Here's our blog page. Here's our page. We could probably find a better title for that. And then here is our okay, wait a second. Why do I feel like I already did the contact? Was I confused about a page that I was on? Blog. Yes, this is the page. I did this one wrong. There we go. Whoops. Content. This is the page. All right, there we go. So here's home, blog, the current page, which is active, and then Angela. Okay, there we go. We got it. And now this is active. And then let's make sure that our images are updated. There we go. And so here's our, well, let's add so right here, now we can add anchor link active. We don't really need this. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. So now, well, actually, no, this needs to go on our navigation, not the global anchor links. Right here. Did I not put... Oh, we have to actually update this too. So the home page is the current directory, the blog, oh, wait a second. We're on the home page, Angela. Probably do want to do this. Do you see what I mean about why this is a good exercise? Yeah. Should we put slashes? I mean, do we want to put a slash after these? I feel like maybe we do. Okay, so we've got home, blog, page, contact, yep, it seems to be working. And we have some bouncy animations that we have to take off from last week, or from Tuesday's experimenting. And let's see here. Hashmi says, what is defer? The defer attribute is so the page can load first. We want to defer loading the script until the page is finished loading. Rayhan is here. Hello, welcome. Emilio is here. Hi all. Page.page is the perfect name. That's how my naming goes. Well, in my own defense, not that I need a defense, but in my own defense, this was a design back when I was a WordPress developer, so I had a tendency to name things like the templates that I had to build. We should probably change the name. Although I just did that whole drama with the navigation, so I'll probably just keep it. So great hairstyle today. Oh, thank you. This is the non-wash day pony. So thank you. Malik says, defer is used to tell the browser to download external scripts in the background and is mainly used with JavaScript files to have your information preloaded so the site loads smooth. Simply, the script loads with the rest of the code that is loading. Oh, I thought it meant that the DOM... listen, at one point, I carefully read what defer actually means. I think of it as it's waiting to... it's waiting for the DOM to load, but I haven't read the official definition in a long time. You know, it used to be back in the day that we always put the script at before the closing body tag. So literally the DOM had to load first. Now it's a best practice to put it in the head and use the defer attribute. That is what I was taught to do, or what I have learned to do. So that's what I do. Yeah, so there's that. So thank you, Malik, for filling us in. Okay, excellent. Actually, I would like to go ahead and commit this change so we don't have what we just did mushed in with a commit for the actual contact page. So let's just go ahead and do that now. Git add. Making the inner pages and navigation. And while we're at it, let's make sure that we have a GitHub page for this repo. I'm a little behind on some things. As usual, that has not changed. Settings, pages, the main branch. And then I usually just do this. And we'll give this a second. It takes a second to deploy. So I'll put this in the chat, and if anybody wants to look at it, you are welcome to. You are absolutely welcome to. Let's see here. Following from Kenya, Dennis is here. I am just starting out in my journey in front-end web development. Yes, congratulations. Well, we're happy to have you. So I have a little philosophy. You didn't ask, but you're here. I have a philosophy, which is that the best learning is project-based learning. By all means, take a course, introduce yourself to a new programming language, a new way of doing things, learn the syntax and the rules and things like that. But the real learning is going to come from building a project, especially in front end. My recommendation is that your approach should be to build projects. So you could look at something like Front End Mentor. You could just Google mockups and just build a mockup from top to bottom, which is basically what I do on this channel. So here's the home page of the mockup that we just built, and I personally think the best approach and the approach that I take is that do all of your HTML first, go from top to bottom, get all of your HTML in, and then from top to bottom add your styles and style things one at a time. I think it's the best approach, and yeah, I think it's just a great way to learn. And the things that are going to happen, the problems that will present themselves as you're building, that's the learning. Literally, that's it. It's about problem solving, learning how to Google, learning how to ask a question, because and this even happens to experienced developers. The real problem solving comes when you develop enough experience to even know what question to ask, right? So those are really the skills that you're developing. You're not just developing knowledge around HTML, CSS, and JavaScript or accessibility. You're learning how to solve problems. You're learning to understand what the problem even is and how to ask for help. So, project-based learning, my friend. And Malik says that is true also. It does delay it or postpone it until the DOM is loaded, but it still downloads the code parallel to each other. Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarity. So, I did not remember that. So, I too am trying to keep up. So, okay, the contact page. So obviously we don't need all the stuff that's on this contact page because we are going to go ahead and add our contact form. So the reason I recommend that you build the home page first from top to bottom and then use that as a template is because now our header and our footer are done. A ton of styles are defined. We have sort of a layout structure. We've got global styles. All that stuff's ready to go. So the first thing that I'm going to do, well, we do have a hero there. We have this section grid. And then we have our footer. So let's take out this section grid. Get over to our contact page. Let's remove this animation. I'm not super concerned about that now. We can add an animation, but so here's what our contact page is supposed to look like. We've got this overlap here. So I'm thinking about the best way to deal with this. My first thought is that the contact form is a section that actually starts after the hero, and then we pull it up to overlap over this. Or there's a lot of weirdness with like spacing when you could use relative positioning, top negative, like a negative number. You could use negative margin, which is negative margin is nice when you also want to reduce the space beneath the thing that you are moving up. If you use top or translate, that can hold that space open. So this will be a good experimentation. We can look at the 3 ways that I know how to move things around, which is position relative, transform, translate Y, it would be on the Y axis, or negative top margin. Those are like the 3 ways that you can take something out of position and move it up. So let's do that, and we'll see. We'll decide which. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. So here's our hero section and our hero content. I don't think that we need this. We definitely need an H2, which reminds me, it would actually be an H1. On our inner pages, we need to change the H1 to a div. On the home page, we want this to be the H1. On the inner pages, we want the name of the page, which in this case would be contact, to be the H1. So we need to change this to a div. Just like that. And then I'm going to just collapse the header. And then here's our hero. We don't need hero content, so I'm going to take that out, and we're just going to have this background image here inside of this container, and then in between, the hero is inside main, so now we're going to add another section, also with a class of section. But also, since this section doesn't have a heading, it can't be a section. That's not semantic. Sections need to have headings, so we're going to change this to a div. And then this will be an H1 with a class of primary heading. And I don't think we have that as a class, because in our header we called it primary logo, and it's styled by its class, not by its element. So we have primary heading, and this is going to be contact. Whoops. And then after the H1, I think we can just go ahead and add a form. And then this would be action, what method, I think it's going to be a post, and we're also going to give this a class of form. We may need, I don't know if we need another, I don't know if we're going to need another class there yet or not. I'm not going to worry about that right now. So the form element, the container, is going to act, well, semantically, it's the correct element to wrap our inputs, and it can double as a wrapper. Once I'm styling it, I may need to add extra classes or extra markup. That's completely fine. For now, I'm just trying to get the structure in place. Oh, down here. So we are also using form for our subscription. So we'll have to see if this interferes. I don't know if it's going to. We were pretty good about separating out styles that were like more generic form styles, and then using this class subscribe for some specificity just for the subscription form. So we'll see if those were good choices. We will see if those are good choices. Okay, so what do we have here? So we have a name, an email, and a message, and the name and the email are side by side. No problem. So let's do a div, and we'll call this, I'm just going to call this, I don't know, what am I going to call this? 2 inputs. And then we've got a label with a class of screen reader only. And It's for the name input. We're also going to give this a, I guess that's it. Name. And then our input, type text, but it also needs an ID of name. That's how we match up the label for name to the ID of name. Type text, placeholder, name, required, yes, and then autocomplete. That's the thing that Chrome is always telling me that I forgot to do. Autocomplete. Here, name. And then I'm gonna copy these. And then this is email. It's screen reader text only, but the label is also email. The ID is email. Whoops. The type is email. That's the input type. And the reason this matters is, do you ever notice on your mobile device that when you're filling in an email, the keyboard changes to accommodate email addresses? There's lots of reasons why you would do a type, but that's probably an easy one to notice. So if you're typing in a phone number, your keyboard changes to a keypad. That's because you specified the input type telephone. So important that you're specifying a type for usability, and the keyboard change is a big part of the usability. Autocomplete is going to be email. So now we have these inside of a div, so we can style the two inputs to be side by side. Now we'll do a text area. The name is message. The ID is message, and this also needs a label for message. Class is screen reader only. What else do we need? The name is message. The ID is message. I think this should be required. I don't think there's an autocomplete for messages for like a text area, right? The placeholder can be message. And then a submit button. So we'll say button, type, whoops. It's a good best practice to include the type, but anytime you have a button element inside a form element, clicking the button will submit the form. If you need to use a button inside of your form element, do type button, and that will stop that behavior. But we're going to do type submit. And you do not need a label for this. Well, we need an ARIA label. Submit. Actually, no, we don't need an ARIA label. We have text. I'm so used to adding ARIA labels. Whoops. There we go. Button, type, submit, submit. And if we need to put a class on this, we can. We might need a class. I don't know yet. Okay, so there's our form. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. What else we have here? Then we have this area here. So I'm going to do another div, and I'm going to do 3 asides. Contact is our H1. So each of these asides can be H2s. And so we'll say div. I'll give this a class of, have we used items? Not really. So I'm going to call these aside. I mean, is that too specific? Do we have other? So we're on the contact page. This also has asides. Well, the good news is that once we do this today, this is like copy and paste onto our page template. So we should be able to get both of these pages done today, and then we can jump over to our blog this weekend. Well, we'll see. Famous last words, but we'll see. I'm going to call this asides. And then this would be aside, class of aside. We've got an H2 secondary heading. And then just a little bit of text. Yeah, that seems fine. All right, so before we push this form up, let's style it. I think this white box behind can be the form. See, that makes me feel like, well, but the white box goes around everything. So that makes me think that we do need to have another div in here, maybe like a div with a wrap. So we can put that white background in. Here's our footer, here's the subscribe, here's all the inputs right here, forms, subscribe. I'm going to put contact right here. And I think I'm going to add a class to this section. Then I have some specificity here. So I'm going to say contact wrap Background color. We'll just go with white for now. Let's give it some padding. Like maybe 3 rems on the top. Well, let's just go 3 rems all the way around. We can make some adjustments. So this wrap element, no, probably this element, this section, is what we want to pull up and layer over top of the hero. So this would be contact. How do we want to do this? There's so many choices. I kind of just want to do like negative margin. It's so basic, but it just works. Like negative 50 VH. Oh, too much. See, it does pull up everything with it. So that's one of the benefits of using negative margin, is that you pull everything up with that margin. There's other ways to do it though. So let's say we did, this is a good experiment. So let's say we do instead transform, translate Y for the Y axis, and then we do negative 20 VH. So do you see what happened here? It pulls it up, but all of this space beneath it is preserved in the DOM. So sometimes that's exactly what you want, and sometimes that is definitely not what you want. And I feel like position relative is pretty much going to do the same thing. Position relative, whoops, relative top negative 20 VH. It does pretty much the same thing. If you want to preserve this space, I actually think the better approach is transform with translate Y. But if you need to pull up everything underneath it, which we do, honestly, margin, negative margin on the top is just going to be the easiest way to do it. So let's do that. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to do it so we have about this much on top, because our form's really little right now. We're not done styling it. So let's just pull it up to where we see about this much space on top. And I think the best way to do that is going to be, so transform, translate Y. Is vertical height the best way to do that, or should I just use like rems? Negative 20 rems. Yeah, that's not very consistent. So what's the best way to make that consistent? Although maybe, no, Angela, margin. You just got done saying margin. Margin, because we need to pull up everything underneath it. Margin is the best way to do it. Margin, top. And the reason it's not going to be consistent is because this is an aspect ratio. So we might want to put a fixed, do we want to put a fixed height on that? Margin top. What if we just did like negative? Okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, it's there. What happens when we, yeah, because it's because this container is shrinking and growing. So maybe, but if you do, I can't do negative because it's not going to pull up everything underneath it. I feel like it's escaping me. Is this even the best approach, or is the best approach to just have this be inside the hero and let it just peek down? I don't think it is, though. Position, if I did position relative, yeah, but all the stuff underneath it, that's not going to work. The better approach might be to just stick it in the header so we have more control and then just deal with what's happening behind it. That's probably going to be the better approach. One moment. Okay, I did something very similar on my own website. Let's just go look at it. You know, I don't remember how to do everything. I just don't. I don't remember how to do everything, but I've done a little bit of everything is the thing. So this is clearly a very similar approach. What did I do here? So here's our header, here's our main, here is our full width hero. Yeah. Okay, right here. So our full width hero is a background image. And this is all CSS. And then our content just has some padding. And you know what? This is a perfect, it's position absolute with a height that is somewhat flexible, 40 VH viewport height. So that height is always going to respond to the height of the container. And right now, can I catch the edge of this? No. There, you can see it moving there based on the height of the container. So if we go to mobile, you can see there it's always 40, about 40% of the height of the container. Yeah, that is probably going to be the better approach. We don't have to treat this as a background image though. We can just take this and do position absolute, because we're not putting any content inside of the hero. So we can just make this position absolute, and then we don't have to pull this up over top. That's the best way to do it. So, okay, so we have to do something a little bit different then for our inner pages, because we definitely don't want to change these styles. It will impact the home page. So how do we want to handle that? If we're on an inner page, my first thought is that we can add an extra body class. We can add just an extra class to the hero, so we have some specificity. So we could say inner, just like that. Thank you for the compliment. Is it your custom design, or did you get the design from somewhere else? It's my custom design. It was heavily inspired by the Atlassian website. Let's see here. Did they change they might have changed their design. I think they changed their design. This looks new-ish. It was heavily inspired by the Atlassian website, but I don't see here what they used to do. So, yeah, I built it about a year ago. Yeah, I really enjoyed working on this. It was a lot of fun. It needs a little attention. It needs some updates. Christian Codes is here. Welcome. How are you doing? We're so happy to have you. Christian Codes also does a lot of streaming and coding, and he is killing it. Well, wait a second. How did there's a million ways. So I don't think that this on the home page. So this is not position absolute. So if we go to like one of my inner pages, I think it just has a different class for an inner page. Yeah, we could just call this the we'll just call this the inner hero, right? And then we'll give that some specific styles. So let's go do that now. So here's all the hero stuff. And then let's do the inner hero. Inner hero, inner page hero. So inner hero, and this is going to be, it's going to be position absolute, which means that we need to make sure that the main element is position relative. And I know I don't have any styles for main, so we'll go ahead and add some here. Do it right here. Position relative. And we'll say inset 0. Inset is shorthand for top, bottom, left, right. We'll say width 100%, and we'll say height, I'm going to say 66 VH. And then the Z index would probably be -1, which means we need to make sure that this has, oops, hang on. We would want this to probably be a Z index of 0. And then we just need to style the image inside this container. So here's the inner hero. You can see here that that's basically what we want the container to do. Here's the figure, and then here's the image, which basically has no styles. So we'll say inner hero, figure. I'm going to say width 100%, height 100%. Oh, this is why I put it in as a background image, so I didn't have to deal with the figure and the image. That makes sense. Why I did that. We'll say width 100%, height 100%, object, fit, cover. I want to say padding. Can I do, oh, there it is. Okay. It was back there. Got it. The padding was covering it up. Okay, it totally is working. So we just want to say padding 0. Now we have this container, so we can also adjust the height of this. So if we're looking at this, I mean, it's probably pretty tall. So let's just leave it as is. This is officially now, this div, this hero, is officially out of the flow now and in the background. And then the section and the asides, these are all in the normal flow. So we don't have to worry about extra space or negative margin or anything like that. So this was actually a pretty good approach. And Rahul says, if you're updating the personal website, I have a suggestion. Heidi's image causes a layout shift, so adding inline width and height attributes in the HTML should resolve it. Yeah, I will take a look at that. Okay. Okay. So I think we just want to add a little bit of padding to move this down for our section contact. Here we go. So the default for a section is 3 rems. We're definitely going to have to adjust it on mobile, because on mobile, our header goes from fixed to sticky, but we can go with 8. So we'll say padding 8 rems. I'm going to do 8 rems on top and bottom, 1 on the left and right. Here's our wrap. We may want to bring that wrap in. Well, no, it's probably the form that we want to bring in. So here's the form. So this would be the contact form. I'm going to say max width 50 rems. And then we can use some margin to center it. And then we've got this div 2 inputs, which we can see here that they're already lined up because inputs by default are display inline block. So with the labels being hidden, we don't really need to do anything like flexbox or anything like that to get those lined up. We will want to, we're still going to need to change the width. Yeah, let's contact, well, let's use 2 inputs. We'll use our parent class here. 2 inputs, input, width. I mean, we still may want to use flexbox. What's the natural space? What's the natural space with display inline block? Like 5 pixels? Or grid. Maybe grid is a better way to do it. 2 inputs. Let's just do display grid. We're going to get more control. And then we'll give this a gap of 2 rems. And then I think we're going to want to make the wrap. We'll give this some opacity. Oh, actually, that's 255. So there's our form. Yeah, I think just grid was a good thing to use there. And then here's our text area. Do we want to put that here with our forms? There we go. Border, none. And do we just want to put like rows? Kind of feel like that's a semantic thing to do instead of putting like a height on it. And then let's make sure that we have some margin here to push that down. Team Akib says, could you please review this design and maybe build it using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? Yeah, I don't allow links in the chat, but if you would like to send it to me on Instagram, check my About tab, or even just check the description. I think there's a link to my Instagram. If you want to send that to me, like send me a DM on Instagram, I can definitely take a look. If anybody wants to send me a design to look at, full disclosure, no guarantee that I'll do it, but yeah, if it's something that I like and it kind of matches my aesthetic or it looks like fun, then I will definitely take a look at it. So go ahead and send it to me via DM on Instagram, and I'm happy to take a look for you. We'll chat about it. So, all right, let's add some of those. The text area needs some styles. Should we just add text area here? Yeah, let's add. There we go. And then do we not have button styles? Pretty sure we do. We don't have button styles. What? Yes, we do. Don't we? We haven't made any buttons yet for this site? Yeah, we did. Oh, this is, wait, this is a button. Button type submit. We must have done it only for the subscribe. Okay. Yes, we did. Okay. Let's what? Yes, I did. I know I did. Yeah, right here. Oh, duh, they're white. That's why. There it is. So if I did buttons specifically for the subscribe form that have a background color of white, then I think the default button should be background color, dark blue, and the hover active focus should be. I think the hover active focus should be, well, I think the border should be, we should have a border. Whoop, that's not what I wanted. And then the hover active focus can be transparent. And the color should be am I doing this right? This should be white, yes. Okay, so what is weird? What's going on here? Why does this look so weird? So this needs some box shadow. Okay. So we need to give the wrap some box shadow right here. So I'm going to do 1 pixel on the x-axis, 1 pixel on the y-axis, 1 pixel blur, 1 pixel spread. RGBA, this will be 0, 0, 0, and then 10%. There. But why does it still look so weird? Is it because the text area is coming down? Yes, that's why we need a little space there. Okay, so this is the fun part, because I think we mostly have things looking the way they should. So let's reduce the number of rows that we have here. Let's go back to 10. Yes. Maybe a little less. Maybe 8. Yeah. And then underneath the text area, let's give that some margin and push things down. So I think we could just say the contact text area margin and then yes, I'm happy with this, although the time, I think the timing's off. So this, the transition for, so we've got a transition for the background color. We also need to transition the color. So we'll say color, 300 milliseconds, ease in out. There, now you can see that that transitions at the same time. And then let's make sure that this is centered. So I don't want to center submit buttons by default, although maybe it doesn't matter. It's the only submit. This is so much more specific than what I usually do. I'm surprised I took this approach. I bet we can just do, I mean, it's display inline block, so we can probably just say text align center, right? So we're still here. If we look at the user agent style sheet, we are still display inline block. So can we just do text align center? No, that centers the text. If we put text align center on the form element, that would do it. We could also just do we could say, this is kind of a hack, we could say margin left 50%, and then we could say transform translate X negative 50%. That is an easy way to center something without changing the display. And then we could also give this a min width, because I think it would look better if it was a little wider. So we could just say, let's move some of these around. Well, we could just say min width and then let's also give it a max width of 100%. Yeah, that's starting to look pretty good actually. Let's style this. Once we style this and we make this a little bit bigger, we give it some margin and padding, we add this border, that's still going to push things down even more. Oops. So this is the section H1 primary heading, primary heading. So let's just style this as a primary page heading. It does not need to be specific to the contact page. So here's our headers. I'm just going to go right here. Primary heading. Font size. What do we think? It's pretty big. I think we should definitely clamp it. So let's experiment. Maybe on the low end it would be 2 rems. Maybe on the high end it would be 8 rems. So in the middle it would maybe be 10 VW. The font weight is light, so it's 300. And I know it's a little lighter color. Ooh, that's pretty big, but we're headed in the right direction. Let's try 6. This generally needs to be a bigger number to get the effect. And then H1s are block level elements, so we can just say text align center. And it'll center the contents of the element. That's still pretty big. I think it needs to be a little bit bigger, maybe 5. Yeah, that looks about right. I think it needs to be a little darker. What can we do here so it's still accessible? I think the best way to deal with that is to... So here's our color, which is on the body. And it's giving us the contrast ratio information. Let me think. If 222, so maybe 555, little lighter, but still has good contrast ratio. That still works. 666. So now we're crossing into territory. So maybe 667. Yeah, let's do 667. So we still have contrast for accessibility, but it's just a little lighter shade and it's obviously giant. So let's add that as a style. Let's do dark gray. primary heading, color, and we'll go with dark gray. Text shadow, do we need text shadow? I mean, we can try it. We do have that opacity behind it, so maybe text shadow is a good idea. We can try it. So text shadow, we've got 1 pixel x-axis, 1 pixel y-axis, and then 1 pixel of blur. We could do RGBA. And text shadow needs a much higher alpha transparency. It's kind of wild how much higher it has to be impactful. Ooh, you could really see it though. Let's see if you can tell. I don't know if it needs to be this much. I mean, to me, the text shadow just makes it look bolder. Do we really need it? I'm going to say no to the text shadow. I don't think we need it. It just makes it look bolder to me. And silence, 24 hours is here. Hello, welcome. The other suggestion that we had was to blur. I mean, I'm still confused. Was it to blur the white container or blur the image? I think let's blur the container. That's what I would like to do. Oh yeah, right here. Are you going to make the image blur? I'm not going to make the image blur. I'm going to make this white blur. That is what I'm going to do. Contact. Right here. Filter. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. Filter. Blur. I can't remember what the values are supposed to be. MDN filter blur. Okay, so like 5 pixels. Woo. So we need it to be not the whole thing though. So maybe we do want to blur the image. Actually, that's a good point. Maybe blurring the image is better because we don't want to blur the whole container. What do we think about that? It's aggressive. Let's adjust it here. Right now it's 5 pixels. I need subtle. I also don't like what it's doing here on the edges. This is annoying to me. It's like putting this little bevel on the edge. So there's 1, 2, 3. I'm thinking 3. Why is it doing this little bevel on the edge? Is there something I can do to... think that's just how it works on the edges. I don't like that. It's weird. But I don't think it matters. What do we think? I kind of like 3 pixels. Oh, backdrop filter just to do the background. Yeah, that makes sense. Backdrop filter, blur 10 pixels, brightness 1.0. Brightness isn't needed. Tell me what you think of this. Silence 24 hours. This was your suggestion. You tell me if this is what you had in mind. I think that we have to have this white box. This white box is important for accessibility, but also let's add this border to the bottom. So this is an H1, which means it's a block level element. So this is stretching all the way to the ends. But if we add a border to the H1, clearly this is not a block level border. So let's put that in and see how it looks. We might have to change the H1s to display inline. We might have to change this to display inline block and center it a different way. I don't, well, maybe. Okay, hang on. Let me deal with the border. It's already position absolute, so position fixed. Yeah, okay, hang on. Give me one moment. One moment. Okay. Border bottom. Dark gray, light gray, medium gray. One moment. Okay, I'm going to make this display inline block, which means that text align center isn't really going to work anymore. So we'll do display inline block. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the button, which is I'm just going to say margin left 50%, and then transform, translate X negative 50%, but I'm also going to give this a width because I need that border to be a little bit wider. So let's also say width, well, what's the width now? We could also just give it a bunch of padding. That might be the easiest way to deal with it. Although, if we give it padding, yeah, let's just do that. We'll give it some padding. And it does need padding on the top and bottom also. It needs margin. Margin left is also going to need margin bottom. I like this. I mean, it's not exactly like this, but I do like it. So padding is 1 rem on the top and bottom and 4 rems on the left and right. So that widens that container. So our border is just a little bit bigger than the word itself. And then with display inline block, centering things is pretty easy using margin left and then transform translate on the x-axis. So here's the thing though, if we make this image position fixed, that means that the content below this contact form is going to scroll over top of that image. Which, well, I guess I just have to make sure there's always a background, right? We'll try it. We'll try it. So instead of position absolute, we can do position fixed. So this needs a Z index adjusted. Oh, and we're having issues here too. Probably because I changed the width of this button. And I changed the border. I have to admit I'm not sold on position fixed. So I'm going to change it back to position absolute. Let's get the rest of the page styled and then we can go ahead and revisit this. And then Silence 24 Hours says, what do you think about the border radius of the parent container of the form, a bit curved, or do you prefer to stick with the actual design? Malik says, great suggestion. Oh yeah, that doesn't look okay with positive. Okay, good, we agree. Although I'm open to trying the position fixed again. I just want to get the rest of the page styled and I want to see how much hassle it is to deal with the Z index. Sometimes position fixed, especially on a background, can be a little bit weird with it's not that I don't like weird. Listen, I like weird. I'm down for weird, but sometimes it gets a little too weird. So, but let's get the rest of the page styled and then we can tinker with that. So, background attachment fixed. Yeah, I'm going to style the rest of the page and then we're going to come back to this. I am liking this though. I am liking this. Honestly, I would be open to am I open to changing the blur even on the home page? I don't know. Let's keep going. Oh, and you know what we forgot to do? We were going to work on the header today, the mobile header. That's fine. We'll do it this weekend. I would really like to figure out how to get rid of this blurry edge. I don't like that. So there's a backdrop filter. Should we try that really quick? Backdrop filter. Backdrop filter. The backdrop filter lets you apply graphical elements such as blurring or color shifting to the area behind an element because it applies to everything behind the element to see the effect. So instead of just filter, so can we do this just on an image, or do we actually need to put it in this? I don't know, is that blurry? It kind of seems maybe blurry. No, I don't think that's working there. So do I have to have, hang on here. Backdrop filter blur brightness. Brightness isn't needed. Let's try on the figure, maybe the figure. Or can it just be on the image? This isn't working. Backdrop filter isn't working on the image. Should be on the container since it affects everything behind. But is it working on the image? Hang on. Does backdrop filter blur work on images only? No, the backdrop filter blur property is not limited to images. Wait, limited to images. It can be applied to also. Yes. Okay, works on the area behind any element, including the area behind an image, provided the image or the element containing it has some transparency. Transparency is required. To see the effect, the element you apply the backdrop filter to must have a transparent or semi-transparent background. For an image, this means the image itself needs alpha transparency, like a PNG with transparent areas, or the image needs to be placed inside a container with a semi-transparent background color. So let's put it here, and we could just add can add a background color to anything. Background color, RGBA. We'll just say the property should be applied to an element positioned in front of the content you want to blur, not necessarily the image element itself. Yeah, I'm not targeting the correct element. The property should be applied to an element positioned in front of the content. There isn't anything in front of the image. URL to SVG filter. Applies to all elements. In SVG, it applies to the container elements excluding, okay. So there isn't anything in front of the image. That's why it's not working. So if we had a so if the form was inside the container, it needs to be like a child element. Yeah. So it would be put on the contact parent container. I don't think so. I'm always prepared to be wrong. The problem is that the contact element, so let's look at this here. So here's the contact, and then here's the hero, and here's the contact form. These are sibling elements. So if I put this on the contact, it's not going to blur the image because it's a sibling element. If you really need that, then give the figure a pseudo element and then give the backdrop filter to that and it'll work. So, okay, so let's experiment. Let's go ahead and put this on the contact. I think since these are sibling elements, that's not going to work. But I think Rahul has a really good idea to use a pseudo element. So where's our contact? It worked. Why did that work? I don't understand. I don't understand why that worked. Because they're sibling elements. How does the browser know that it's literally behind it? Is it because it comes after the hero in the DOM? Is that what counts as being before? I'm so confused. Go Elmo, go for the win. And we don't have that weird thing. That's what I really didn't like. We don't have the weird edge, right? I will say that this line is blurry too, which I don't love. I'm so confused. I don't know why that worked, but it worked. It's got to be because, so when I think of something being stacked or on top of or in front of, I think of a child element. But apparently, a sibling element that comes after is the thing that is before it or on top of it, which I do kind of understand. So, all right. Well, as usual, that took a lot longer than I thought it would, but we did get some good stuff done today. Yeah, so we really need to finish that header. We made our inner pages. We got the contact form styled and positioned in a way that I really, really like. We figured out how to do some blurry stuff. That's always good when you can learn how to use those tools. I wish this was a little more cleanly defined here, this line. Yeah, check if everything is blur. I might... It's literally happening to everything behind it. So that's everything inside. So the blurriness just includes this line. It doesn't mean that everything below the line is blurry. It just means that the blurriness includes that line. Is there a value to like... There's just a blur length. That's all there is. There's no like X, Y, top, bottom, left, right. There's just blur. And how blurry do you want it? You know what? I'll just accept it because I don't have that weird thing on the left and right. So I'll take it. Yeah, it's blurred. That shouldn't be happening. Let's see. Well, it's not the image specifically that is... And we don't need the background color. We don't need transparency. Although maybe, what if we did like a, can you do like a negative 3 pixels? I don't know. Does this like move it on an axis someplace? So yeah, you can really see the spread or the length of the blur. I wish that line was a little more clean, but we're gonna have to play with it. We can go back to the drawing board and experiment. So let's go ahead and push this. I think we're good for today. As per usual, did not get everything done, but we got a good fair amount of stuff done, right? Let's see here. Hey, do me a favor. If you haven't liked the video yet, would you be so kind as to do that? I would appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Helps the algorithm, helps me push this out to more people who might be interested in this type of content. We'll say working on the contact page and form. Git push origin main. Nice. We had another productive day. I mean, think about it. We've gotten done. This is like our 4th time working on this. So think about what we've gotten done now in a matter of 8 hours. We built out an entire homepage, set up the structure for all of the inner pages, and we're about halfway done with the contact page. The site is mostly responsive. We need to finish the mobile header, which structurally everything is in place. I just forgot to do it. So we'll do that first thing on Saturday. But look at what we've gotten done in 8 hours. I mean, this is pretty remarkable in just a couple hours of dedicated practice time. Yeah, I'm pleased with this. I wonder if we want to add... Right now I just have a white border. I'm kind of thinking that we should add some kind of a border to this so you could actually see the separation. Good work. We have to fix this too. We'll fix this. We'll fix that on Saturday as well. Okay, everybody. The blur is not coming from backdrop filter, in my opinion. I may be wrong. I think it is. I'm sorry, I don't know how old your comment is here. Hang on. So there's the color right here. So here's the backdrop filter blur. I think it is. Yeah. Maybe the effect of the sibling relationship causes it not to happen for child elements. I mean, listen, every time I think I have something like completely figured out, it's like, surprise, you don't know what you're talking about. So that's just the nature of, I want to say the nature of front-end development. I think that's just the nature of development, is that it's complex. There's a lot to know. Just have an open mind, be willing to be wrong. I'm always prepared to be wrong, even when I think that I'm absolutely right. Rahul says, but the issue is every background is blurred now. The form background is also blurred. No, it isn't. I don't think, wait, is it? How can you tell that the form background is blurred? I feel like I'm just seeing a blurred image. Oh, because of up here, the difference between the header. So we did this once before. Hang on, let's look at our Fiber and Craft site. We did this once before. I don't recall that we had any trouble with it or spent any time like troubleshooting. So let's see what we did here. So here's our section. Here's our figure with our image. And then we put the backdrop filter on the sibling element. Wait a second. We put the backdrop filter This is interesting. This is but this has content. This didn't make this blurry. This didn't make this blurry. We put it here and it just made the background of these things blurry. The blur for the form background is the desired effect. So if you need a crisp line below the image, the pseudo is a way to go. Let's try that this weekend. Let's experiment. That's the whole point of this, is to experiment and learn and figure out what works. And I love documentation. I love MDN. I love Google. I love ChatGPT. But the best way to troubleshoot is to just see for your own eyeballs what works. And Go Elmo Go says blurring everything that isn't behind it is the wrong in my view of backdrop filter. No, I meant the white background on the form. So I'm just going to experiment. We're going to experiment this weekend. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird that it's working right there, but not on Scenic. That is interesting. I wonder why. And so our situation is not exactly the same because These are sibling elements. I don't understand why, if these are sibling elements. Oh my God, it's not blurring the image. You're right, it's not blurring the image. It's just blurring. We're putting it on the section and it's just blurring the section, which gives us the appearance of a blurry image. That's why that's doing that. Okay, hang on a second. I finally understand. Hang on. The blur is not coming from the back. Here, Rahul nailed it. But the issue is every background is blurred now. The form background is also blurred. Literally, this section is blurry behind the form. So it's not the image. It's not the image that's blurry. It's this section that is blurry. Yes, I get it. So why couldn't we just put it on this? Did we try that? Did that not work? Did that not work? I don't remember. So the parent is right here, inner hero. It doesn't work on just this right here. Yeah, I think a pseudo element is going to be the best way to do this. I don't think it has anything to, well, actually, so silence is a good point. Maybe it has something to do with Z index. Malik says, I thought you put it on the actual container, not the full section. Yes, it's blurring everything. The simple solution is to add the backdrop filter on the form or the form containing the form. That is usually how I apply backdrop filter. But we want to blur the image, not just the form, right? We're trying to blur the image. Well, let's do that. You know what? To be continued. Let's think about it. Let's gather our thoughts and let's come back, because I think that there's a lot of good suggestions here for what we could try. So here's what I want. I want just the image blurred, nothing else, and I want a crisp line. That's what I want. I want just the image blurred. I want a crisp line, and I don't want any haziness on the left and right, because I think that's annoying. It doesn't look good. So we have a couple things that we can try, but we're on to something. I do think that we figured out the most important part, which is why do we have the blurry line here? So I'm going to actually just undo these. I don't know, famous last words that I'm actually going to work on this before Saturday or try to figure it out. Well, we all know that I'm not going to. So just let's not pretend that I am. So yeah, only for image pseudo on the figure is the right way to go. Yeah, let's definitely try that. Malik says, I tested it. If you want to just blur the image behind the form, it should be on the contact wrap, not on the section. But how does that blur the entire image? That will blur the entire image? Even the parts that are showing around the form? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand. Once again, I'm prepared to be wrong. So this blurs. Yeah, this just blurs the container though. Yeah. I want the entire image to be blurred. So, okay. I can't stop myself. Where is the... inner hero, figure, after, so this is going to have to be position absolute, inset 0. This is going to have to be position relative. Width 100%, height 100%. I still don't understand why I have to have something with transparency, but that worked. Okay, that did it. That worked. That worked. Here it is. Rahul for the win. And we did not need to have this background color. Here it is. Here's just the blurry image. And we have a nice clean line. And we don't have any weird fuzziness on the sides. Nice. I still like a blur of 3 pixels. Perfect. I'm going to push this. So it's pushed up. What do we think? Yeah. And Malik says, I was on a different idea path when you said you wanted it blurred. I thought you meant just behind the container. Yeah, I want just the image. We did it. I don't know. I'm just adding it anyways. I'm a creature of habit. So old habits die hard. I like it. Okay, let's go ahead and push this. Adding a blur to the hero image. Okay, there we go. Nice. We solved it. Good job. Good job, team. We did it. Agreed. Nice solution. Very nice solution. Close this. So, do we want to do that for all of the heroes? What say you? Do we just want to go ahead and blur all of the hero images? We definitely can. Yeah, I haven't used it. This is literally the second time I've used it. So, nice. All right. We did it. Come back on Saturday. Gosh darn it, I do it every single time. Come back on Saturday and Sunday this weekend. I'm here 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Again, we just practice vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript because it's just fun. That's it. It's not a conspiracy. Don't read into it. It's just practicing the basics because HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, those are the three things that the browser renders natively. Yes, learn your frameworks, learn your libraries. They're very important, especially if you're looking for a job. But also, I promise you, as a developer, if you have a basic understanding of these basics and vanilla, it's going to help you. It really is. Not everything is going to be a brand new, shiny React or Tailwind app. You will spend time working on legacy code, spaghetti CSS files. So it got the tasks complete, so I'm happy with it. It would be nice for consistency. Yeah, I agree. Starting now, always at the end of the stream. It's because there's like little buttons here and I always click the wrong one. So I used to have a Stream Deck, but I never used it. I spent more time looking for the correct button on the Stream Deck. So I sold it on eBay and now I do the exact same thing. I look for the correct thing to push. So one time there will just be a, okay team, good job. The stream ends suddenly. Can't wait. So yeah, anyways. Okay, everybody. Today, I had so much fun today. Thank you to everybody. Emilio and Monique were both here. They popped in to say hi. Rahul and Malik were our mods in the chat. Silence 24 hours. Who else was here? Good engagement in the chat today. I love that. Thank you so much. Team Akib was here. Hopefully, Team Akib, you were able to find my Instagram. Go ahead and send me a DM. Christian Codes was here. Christian Codes also has a YouTube channel. He streams every single day. His audience is growing by leaps and bounds, so go check him out. He's a lot of fun to watch. Dennis was here from Kenya. He's just starting on his front-end journey. Rayhan was here. Hashmi was here. And I think that's it. Memory Clips was also here. Memory Clips is from Turkey. And Max with Logic was here. Thank you to everybody. All right. Yeah, have a great rest of your week wherever you are. And I will see you on Saturday. We will continue working on our site. Bye-bye.